We are tracking what's left of Ida, bringing serious flooding to the Northeast. The streets completely soaked overnight. This video from Brooklyn. People trying to cross through knee-deep water. We know from experience here in Houston that's a very dangerous idea. We're joined live now in New York City by Wendy Gillette.
And Wendy, what are you seeing on the ground right now?
Well, Ron and Reka, situation much better than it was last night. It was a very sunny, beautiful day, and that helped considerably to clear out the water. I'm at the corner of 28th Street and 7th Avenue, where there was major flooding here in this subway station. I spoke to a train conductor who was on the train last night that pulled into this station around 9:30 last night. He said he saw water absolutely gushing from the manhole, and it had covered the third rail of the train track, and he was afraid that the water had become electrified. So it was his job to try to get everyone off the train safely. He was able to do that. There were 100 people on the train, and he was able to get them off with no problem. So that was good news.
Wow.
We've heard about all kinds of rescues. We heard about 3 police officers in New Jersey who were swept away by floodwaters into trees. And they were also rescued as well.
And Wendy, what's being done right now to keep people safe and get the city back in order?
Well, a lot of the flooding is happening in residential areas, so a lot of the cleanup is happening inside people's basements. The death toll was very high from this storm and unexpected. From Maryland to New York, it's as high as at least 24. I've heard also some numbers of 28, but we're still trying to confirm a couple of the deaths. 13 of the deaths came here in New York City. Most of the deaths were inside people's homes when their homes flooded. A lot of the people in their basements.
Thoughts and prayers to people up there in the Northeast. Wendy Gillette, thank you so much in New York City. And KHOU 11 has team weather coverage on this storm with David Paul and Addison Green. Let's start with Addison first and look what's happening up north.
Yeah, Ron, yesterday was one of those days that they will probably not forget for quite some time, especially up there in New York City, where September 1st was one of the top 5 wettest days ever for the city. And they also had their wettest hour on record, picking up over 3 inches of rain between 8:51 and 9:51 p.m. Outside of that, from Virginia through Massachusetts, we had over 20 daily rainfall records set across the area, and many spots did see a big swath of rain coming on in, pushing on in from D.C. all the way up in towards New England. You can see during the evening rush time frame, we had this little bit of a convergence boundary being set up right across from Long Island down in towards Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So right there, you were able to squeeze out and really wring out a lot of enhanced moisture at the surface. But David, we also saw a similar concept going on up aloft with the jet stream.
It was bad enough we had that tropical moisture coming in at the surface, as you mentioned, and then up top, the jet stream setup was bad for heavy rain. Here's what we were looking at. This is at 5 o'clock yesterday afternoon. Here's the Northeast, there's Long Island. And what we had here, what's in the bright color, is what's called a jet streak. This is an area of accelerating winds within the jet stream, way up there at 34,000 feet. Now, we track these and we divide them into 4 quadrants. And the one I want you to pay attention to is this one. This is the right rear entrance quadrant of that jet streak. And in this quadrant, you quite often get the most lift and the heaviest rain. And that is because, notice how the air comes in slow, and then in the brighter color area, it accelerates. So when you accelerate air up at 34,000 feet, it creates space, empty space in between those air molecules. That's a vacuum. It forces that air to rise, and in that situation, it can wring out all the moisture available in the vertical column of the atmosphere. And that's why you had 3+ inches of rain in New York in just an hour, and helped to cause that devastating flooding, Addison. Oh, and you and I were talking. 3 storms have impacted this part of the country in just 2 weeks.
I can't believe that, David. We had from Fred to Henri, and now we had the remnants of Ida coming on in. Just simply astonishing. They don't need any more rain over in that area.